This week, I want to talk about some of my other works, some of the ways I find inspiration, and maybe how you could too. So, without further ado, welcome to The Whiny Writer. Hi, my name is Miguel. I write under the name M. Angel, and today I'm not going to talk about my debut novel, coming out on September 21st, called The Wolf Trap. Instead, I'm going to talk about some other stories that I've had, and where they came from. Now, as authors, or as artists in general, we get inspiration from different places. We get them from perhaps something we see on the street, a person walking down the sidewalk. They look interesting and we start wondering where they're going, where they went, and a story somehow wraps around them. Sometimes we'll see a scene, a car, a boat, a house, and all of a sudden we're thinking, ooh, that's spooky or that's pretty, and stories come out of there as well. Sometimes it's a TV show or a line in a book or something that you see in a piece of art or a photograph, and another story comes out. Sometimes, though, you get them from writing competitions. Now, these things are really, really cool. They allow you to take an idea and fold a story around it. Some of them give you a time, some of them give you a place or a certain type of character, and you're asked to make a story of a certain length within that framework. Another kind, however, is called a first line competition. These are really cool and some of my favorites. You get a first line of a book, a story, a play, a film, whatever you like, or whatever they're asking for, and you have to build from that first line. One of them ended up being a story I like called The Runner's Gambit. I had to change the first line because I didn't win the competition, but I wanted to publish it anyway. Another one gave me the first line, "There weren't always dragons in the valley." That is like the coolest line I've ever heard. From that line, I decided to join the competition and I wrote a chapter. They gave you options to write a prologue or a short story. Mine turned out to be a chapter. I found it so interesting and so much fun that I wrote a few more chapters. And then more characters started joining the party, and I wrote a couple more chapters. I couldn't resist.
So, before I get ahead of myself, let me back up a little bit. This prompt was provided by a platform called Vocal Media, and I'll talk a little bit more about them in a minute, but back to the prompt.
This prompt probably inspired artists and writers in multiple directions. For my part, it took me into the fantasy realm, where relatively peaceful creatures are being exterminated for political gain. And that being the case, I needed characters to fold into that story to fill it out.
So let me tell you a little bit about the platform. Vocal Media is an artist platform. It allows writers and painters and poets to upload their art for others to see. It gives you the opportunity to put your art out there and share it with others.
And that's where I've chosen to put some of my stories that have not found a home yet. Now, I'll have links to those stories on my website, www.whinywriter.com, and if you like, please have a look.
Caveat time. This essentially is a second draft. I'm writing this story, and it's called Dragon Hunters, by the way. I'm writing this story using the same techniques that I used for my novels. So I handwrite and then I type in my second draft. The difference is I'm only doing it chapter by chapter here instead of the entire novel and then being able to kind of rearrange and make sure everything's consistent. This is a second draft. I handwrite the first draft, and then I give it a day to sit, and then I hit on the computer and type it out, making all the adjustments I can at that time. I'm trying to be consistent with all these other chapters and make the story coherent. So Please be gentle.
Speaking of handwriting, this pen I've been using a lot this week. This is my TWSBI Go. It is a snap cap fountain pen with a real simple filling mechanism. Just a spring-loaded jobby. I can't show you how it works now because it's got ink in it. And speaking of that ink, it is called Private Reserve Plum. It's a nice kind of reddish purple, really soft, really nice. And I've had a lot of fun with this pen. Along with my pen, this week's wine is called a Gruner Veltliner.
Now, you might notice I'm using a different glass this time. I'm not sure if the camera can pick this up, but you may know that I met a deadline over my last episode in finding my book cover artist.
So, my boss, partner, you all know her as my wife, she gave me this glass, and etched in it says, The Winey Writer. If the camera doesn't pick it up, I'll have it on my Instagram account as well. But this Gruner Veltliner is an Austrian wine. Clean, crisp, white. I've had a couple reds before, so I figured I'd change it up a little bit. It's got wonderful green apple. It's refreshing. It's great for warmer weather. I know it's September now, but in Virginia it's still really hot. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it very, very much. But, again, now that I've done my writing, my word count, I've poured myself a glass of wine, and
I have been reminded to ask you to like and subscribe. Apparently I'm not really good at this.
so please like and subscribe. And until then, keep writing.